paddling on Lewis Lake today. We put in back there, at the base of those mountains, covered in snow, maybe an hour and a half ago. On about 3 miles, maybe. And right now, I have the wind to my back, and I am just cruising right along this lake. I felt like I wasn't moving at all before, but it's nice now. There's Mommy, and there's the other two. And Annette should be back there somewhere. There she is. Nice day. The temperature's really cold. But there was a hot spring that we just passed a little while ago on the shore. That warmed it up right nice. It's beautiful. And I have enough stuff here for 2 nights worth of camping for 5 people. Kind of crazy. It's a video.
That's a great video. We gotta make it good for people. Starting 2/3 of the way there.
We're about 5.5 miles up our Lewis Lake canoe trip. But the current was starting to get too strong as we're going against the current. So we decided to take a rest. There's Annette taking a nap. Lewis and Clark over there, I don't know what they're doing. Trying to make their way upstream. Maybe. I don't know. And then Mommy's sitting over there. We found a little spot on the side here where there's no current. And we're just taking a break. And then we'll be headed back out upstream. I think we're about 1 mile away from the lake. And then about another 1.5 miles away from our campground. So hopefully we'll be there in another hour or so. Hour and a half. Just depending on what our progress becomes. We'll see.
You might have to walk soon.
Might have to get out and walk if it gets too shallow. All right. So the current got a little too rough for us, and we decided to portage. Mommy takes a ride here as I pull her across the river. It's pretty cold. So, all right, we're gonna keep going. Man, it turns out this walking your boat up the river is harder than it looked. Oh my goodness. Josephine and Mommy took the trail, and we are walking the rest of the boats up this river. How we doing, David?
I gotta poop.
We took a break. The currents dropped down a little bit.
We're on the side.
But we took a break.
Dumping the rocks out of my shoes.
She's dumping rocks out of her shoes. But I think we're about, maybe a 1/2 mile from that lake. We'll see.
Really?
I'll check the GPS next. So we stopped for another break, and then there were 2. Just me and Annette, and 3 boats. And they're hiking off into the distance. And we'll see them in about another 1/2 mile upriver where we get to the lake, hopefully. It got a little wider, and the current slowed down a little bit. It's still hard. Annette and I made it up the river. We split up the boats. We took 2 each. It got hard. It got deep. It got hard to pull. But we found him. We found everybody here waiting on the beach for us. Scared of the bears they ran into in the woods. Didn't actually see them, but they heard them. And they got their bear spray ready. And then we have a little marshy area over here. And then beyond is our destination, Lake Shoshone. So now we're just resting a little bit, getting a snack, before taking another paddle to get to our campsite, which is down there around that corner somewhere, maybe another 1 mile or 2.
Dave and Josephine are gonna have to pull me.
Yes.
It seems like the wind has died down a little bit though. When we first got here,
Hope
it was
so.
really bad. So hopefully it'll stay that way.
Well, I'm ready to go.
You are?
All right. Well, it's breakfast time. We made it to our campsite on the point of the lake. We're on this peninsula.
It's beautiful.
It's pretty beautiful. The problem is there's about 500,000 mosquitoes. So we're swarmed. We were overwhelmed last night and hid in our tents. But we now have breakfast going, and we've decided to just live with it. And the water is glass smooth here before the wind picks up. And so we're going to head over to the basin. Hopefully we're not going to run out of bug spray today. We'll see what happens. But Dave and I, we put our tent up. I'll show you that later. We slid down the hill in the middle of the night. I don't know how that happened. I think the tent making crew decided not to put pegs in because there were too many mosquitoes. But luckily we didn't crash and slide down the hill on the cliff into the water. But we're good now. So we're just enjoying our day, morning, making some breakfast. It's like a completely different lake this morning. But here we are, 8:45, packed up. Tents are still up there. And now we're headed over to the Shoshone Geyser Basin. It's about 4 miles away. It might take us about an hour and a half, something like that. On a flat like this, it shouldn't take too long. We're just hoping it doesn't get too bad on the way home. We'll see what happens. All right, we're crossing the narrows of Shoshone Lake here on a flat glass lake. Very different than yesterday. Once we get over there, we believe the geyser basin is over there at those rocks. I thought we'd see steam though, so that's kind of disappointing. But maybe it's just too nice of a morning. And I think those are people over there, but David telling me they're just big rocks. But they kind of look like people, and we hear them. So, I don't know. But you can hear stuff like a mile away. And where we came from, I'll zoom back out, is our campsite is on that point back there. We're about a mile away from it. Pretty cool trip so far. Except for the mosquitoes. That was bad. All right, so we abandoned the boats. We found a ranger shack along the lake. The wind started picking up. And so we said, hey, why don't we just hike to the place? So we packed everything up. Now we're hiking. Boats along shore. And then we'll come back and get them in a couple hours. It's going to be great. I'm just going to look for bears. All right, so that was quick. Change of plans. So now, Annette doesn't think she can make the hike. There's the lake. And the ranger shack that we found out here in the woods. We're gonna go back down to our boat. And then we may split up. Mommy and Annette going back. And me and the other two kayaking over to the geyser basin. We'll find out what happens next. Stay tuned. So with the wind picking up, we've changed it again, and now we've decided that 2 miles in the kayak is too far to go that way, so we're going to head back to Mosquito Point before the winds pick up even worse. It's only 10:30, so we'll go back and have lunch back at the campsite. Wish us luck. We now have a long crossing ahead of us. Lake this morning, so now sustained 5-knot winds. They only get windier as the day goes on. So we're trying to make it to that far shore. This might not be the safest idea, but hopefully we'll make it. I gotta get back to paddling. It's like Gilligan's Island. We made a 3-hour tour. We made it across the Narrows though, so far. The waves are a little smaller closer to shore. Mommy's still floating. And our campsite's around the next point. So, we're making it happen. Very exciting day though. It's gonna rain here. I mean, I'm not paddling at all, I'm keeping up with them. Because I'm like a giant sail out here. We had a break for lunch, and David ran to the nearest campsite to go find a bathroom, and that was him running from the mosquitoes out of the woods.
How was it, David?
But now it's lunchtime. But look how calm it is now out here.
side.
You still see the white caps out in the middle though. But we're almost home. That's our spot over there on the other side. Look at this thing. Look, we found a leech. He's gonna start sucking the blood out of the kayak. Look at that. Oh man, that's so cool.
Do all leeches suck blood?
No.
Oh, I thought that's what they eat.
A lot of them do. That's why they use them for putting leeches on people to make them bleed.
I've never actually seen a live leech before.
Me neither.
Look at all these mosquitoes. Hundreds of thousands of them. It's nuts. As soon as the wind comes though, this corner over here gets the least amount of mosquitoes, which is why we're hanging out over here, because the wind comes off the lake. But once the wind stops, then we get inundated. So everybody has to wear hoods and pants and as much bug spray as possible to prevent being destroyed by the bugs.
Who wants their food first?
Daddy does.
And if there's people who are here to get it first.
Goodbye, Mosquito Beach. We knew you well. I'm loaded up like Sanford and Son up here now. I got big piles of trash and all sorts of things. But it's just after 9 o'clock. We're packed up, ready to go. And that's going to pump me some water for my bottle. And then we'll be ready to roll out of here. Mommy wanted to go back down this little cove and see if we find the swan that we saw yesterday before we rolled out on day 3. All right, so we finished the lake and now we're headed to the river. We're in the river and just gonna make sure I stay in the deep channel, wherever that might be. I may have to paddle. And we're gonna hopefully run this rapids down here and shoot the chutes. We'll see how it goes. It's about 11 o'clock on Thursday. There's our friend the bald eagle.
Oh, there they go. That's the way. Here, we saw the eagle. I don't think they're scared of us.
Boat dock in sight. Grand Tetons up there. So, 26.5 miles. The cruise is about to end. As I'm being blown sideways by the wind, but I can't paddle anymore. Almost there. And then, load on the boat and see what happens. Awesome. We made it!
Yay!
We're back on land. Mommy's kissing the ground. She's glad to be home. Now we just gotta go find the Jeep and load all this stuff up. And we made it. Did you guys see the Tetons?